Well, on popular opinion time, I actually love Iron Man 3. Wait, please don't dislike that video, please! Well, everyone, after Phase 1, we're finally at Phase 2. So, to start off this Phase 2 list, we're going at Iron Man 3. Will this actually be a good sequel to Iron Man, or will it be like Iron Man 2? Well, let's go with the plot summary. This movie takes place a little bit after the events of the Avengers. Tony is having anxiety attacks after what he experienced in the wormhole, and has been constantly building suits, so that way he can get ready just in case of another attack. So basically, he's a workaholic more. And basically, there's a new threat known as the Mandarin, who is basically a terrorist, and he's setting off all these bombs everywhere. Tony has to try and stop the Mandarin, but unfortunately, after one of his close ones, Happy, was a person in one of the explosions, Tony takes things serious and says, "Come on, fight me, Mandarin." And after a battle, he has to try and get back to society and take on the Mandarin again. So, that's a brief plot summary. So what I think about this movie, well, this was the first MCU movie I remember seeing in the theater, so I may come off as a little biased to this movie. Sort of like how Filmmaster Adam was a little biased for Halloween on H2O, since that was the first Halloween movie he saw in the theater. But even if I didn't see this movie in the theater, I still adore Iron Man 3 to bits and pieces. I think this is probably just as good as the first Iron Man in so many ways. I love Tony Stark in this movie. I like how he's basically a conflicted character like he was in the first Iron Man. And you can relate to Iron Man and Tony since he's trying to protect the people he loves. That is something I can relate to since I want my family and my friends to be safe. Also, now, people complained about this. Why did Tony give his address to the Mandarin? Okay, here's the thing. Aren't we forgetting that Tony is a celebrity? I'm pretty sure people in real life know where most celebrities live. Second off, aren't we forgetting the fact that in Iron Man 2 he had a house party there? I'm just saying. Also, I relate to Tony when he gave out his address, and think about it. I have anger issues a lot, and when I'm angry, I can't control myself sometimes. And I say some stupid stuff. So Tony doing this after seriously, the entirety of the first act was basically Tony trying to keep his loved ones safe. And after that happened, he loses it. So him getting angry is perfectly justified. Right? Though I will disagree on the fact that why is he all like, "Pepper, we have to stay here"? Why can't he just have Pepper move to a safer location? Like a private house or something. That is one problem I do have with the movie. People complained about what about the Mandarin? Okay. Here's the counterclaim to that. Why on earth would we have like a villain sort of like the comic version of the Mandarin, especially after the whole thing with Tony in the first two movies, right? Okay, sorry about that little cut there, but I had to do something real quick. So, now let's continue. People complained about the Mandarin, which makes no sense. Since think about it. In the first two Iron Man movies, we had a villain that was related to Tony's past. Now you want him to fight a warlock? Okay, if it was something like, say, Avengers, then I can understand. But this is an Iron Man movie. Also, this is actually some interesting stuff, since think about it. They make the Mandarin an idea in this movie to install fear into us Americans. Sort of like people like, say, Osama bin Laden. Now, this is actually some great social commentary, in my opinion. Also, you wouldn't expect a white guy, of all people, to be a terrorist. So that's actually rather interesting. Wow, I haven't seen this good social commentary in the MCU since the Captain America movies. But we'll get to Winter Soldier soon enough. Also, this twist actually got me surprised, and I found Trevor to be funny in this movie. Like when he's all like this, Also, people complained there's not enough Iron Man in this movie. Okay, people, aren't you forgetting that Tony Stark is the person who built Iron Man? Iron Man is just a suit of armor. Tony Stark is Iron Man. And that it's seriously the most of the movie he's not Iron Man, and I think it works since he's trying to use the stuff and be good without the suits. In fact, one scene I love is where he sneaks into the Mandarin's headquarters with just stuff he got from a store. That is really good in my opinion, and just shows off that Tony Stark's greatest weapon isn't his suits, isn't his money, it's his intelligence. That is good writing in my opinion. Also, let's talk about the kid. Okay, now people say this was a throw-in for Disney, like Disney forcing them into a kid in this movie. I can understand that, but the way they use the kid is actually good. They use it as like a mirror for both Tony and Harley, and they both kind of make fun of each other, like making fun of the fact that there's a kid in an Iron Man movie. And also, the kid really doesn't do that much annoying. I mean, he's not annoying or anything. I think he's in the movie for a good amount of time. So, I think the kid was fine in this movie. I think he was pretty good. But also, he was in Jurassic World, I mean. Also, the climax of this movie. In fact, let's talk about the action real quick. This is probably the best action we've seen in an Iron Man movie. Hands down. The Mark 42 suit is just amazing. It's a suit that latches onto Tony piece by piece. But in Avengers Infinity War, he has a suit that's literally built into him. That's awesome, in my opinion. Also, here's something I find interesting. Like, with the other movies, like, say, Avengers, Iron Man 2, or the first Iron Man, well, not really the first Iron Man, but still, the suits in those movies felt a little too, powerful, like, too OP. Like how one of the suits was able to survive a blast from Thor's Mjolnir, which would most likely destroy the suit, in my opinion. But still, this actually feels like real tech. It's functional, but it still needs some kinks to work properly. Also, people complain that the suits got too destroyed easily in the climax. To that I say, let's take a callback to Iron Man 1. In Iron Man, there were only 7 suits created, but in this movie, all of them were destroyed during the attack on the house. So that only leaves the newer suits. And basically, Tony had to build 35 suits in that amount of time, so he couldn't spend that much time on one suit to perfect it, so he had to move to the next one for any situation. So yeah, the suits getting destroyed in the climax easily makes perfect sense to me. And also, when they said House Party Protocol, and I saw all the suits coming out like this, oh yeah, this is gonna be awesome! Like seriously, Tony better say House Party Protocol in Endgame, or else I'm gonna be angry. Also, have Samuel L. Jackson say the F-bomb. Seriously, it's his catchphrase. And also have Captain America say Avengers Assemble. But seriously, I adore Iron Man 3. And let's talk about other stuff, the action. Stuff like the airplane scene. That was actually real. All of the people flying down from ships, completely real. And also, I love how in the first action scene in the movie, it actually gets creative. Since the suit is sort of like a prototype. It's not perfect or anything. And he has to use a lot of creative ways, like throwing a piano at the stuff. That's actually really cool. I will agree with another plot hole. I will agree with this plot hole. Why didn't Tony just say House Party Protocol? Also, then I will agree about Pepper's death. I think it was kind of like, okay, we already know she has Extremis, and we already know how much powerful Extremis is, so she's going to come back to life. But other than that, I love this movie, really. And also, I like how they even make fun of the villains having, like, these able to breathe fire. Like when they breathe fire at Rhodey, he's like this, oh, so you breathe fire. Okay. And then there's Rhodey in this movie. He actually does a pretty good job in this movie with War Machine, and it's really cool in my opinion. I think he was called Iron Patriot because Robo Captain America was already taken. Heyo! Also, I still think this movie holds up very well in my opinion. But also, I forgot to mention this one action scene. There's an action scene where Tony has to fight this crazy chick who has fire powers, and he's handcuffed, so he doesn't have much room to fight in. So he has to use everything he can to stop this lady. That is awesome. Seriously, Iron Man 3 just works in my opinion. I think this movie is flat out amazing, and was one of the best movies I saw in 2013, and is still one of my favorite superhero movies, all of my favorite movies of all time. So, see you all later, where we take a look at another amazing movie, Captain America, The Winter Soldier. But, what's my rating for Iron Man 3? An S rank. Yes, I'm giving Iron Man 3 a solid S rank. So, see you all later. We're going to take a look at Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Wait, who said that? Is that you, Doctor Strange? What's going on, man?
No, I'm not Doctor Strange. It's me, Thor. I can't believe you forgot about my second movie, Thor: The Dark World. Well, to be fair, I'll admit this was the movie I also forgot. But still, come on, man, it's not cool.
Wait, Thor: The Dark World? Last time I checked, there was only 2 Thor movies. The first Thor and Ragnarok. Okay, I guess I'll give The Dark World a shot. I mean, I do remember some parts of it, but most of the parts I remember were stuff with Loki. Okay, so next time, before we take a look at Captain America: The Winter Soldier, we'll take a look at Thor: The Dark World. See you all later, and bye.